Welcome to a screencast for solving multi-step equations. After this screencast, you should be able to solve multi-step equations by using inverse operations. Whenever we solve equations, we want to develop a plan before we actually start to put pencil to paper and solve. When we first take a look at the equation, we should be asking ourselves, what is the variable? What operations are being performed on the variable, and what are the inverse operations? So let's take a look at our first example. My first question is, what is the variable? We can see that the variable is x. What is different about this problem is that there are two x's. And when we're focusing on what is the variable, it's actually what is the variable. When we solve, we only want one x. So this means that I'm going to have to do some manipulation before we're ready to solve with inverse operations. I tend to work with the smaller variable. So what that means is, as I look at 3x and 5x, I'm going to want to manipulate the 3x. What does that look like? I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. Then on the left we will get -9, and on the right, when we simplify and combine like terms, that is 1 plus 2x. Now this is an equation that is ready to solve with inverse operations. So the variable is x and there's only one. My next question, what operations are being performed on the variable according to the order of operations? Well, I see an addition and I see a multiplication. I see an add 1 and I see a multiply by 2. According to the order of operations, we're multiplying first and then we're adding 1. So to undo those operations in the reverse order, we're going to subtract 1 and then divide by 2. And this third step is important because this tells you exactly how we're going to solve the equation. First, we're going to subtract 1, then we're going to divide by 2. So let's look at subtract 1. We'll subtract 1 from both sides. Simplify, combine like terms. -10 equals 2x. Our next job is to divide by 2. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Simplify. -5 equals x. Or, if you prefer to have your variable on the left, x equals -5. Let's take a look at the next example. Our first question, what is the variable? Again, I notice that my variable is definitely a, but there are two. And having two is going to make our problem difficult to solve with inverse operations. We need to work to get it down to one variable. So I need to do some manipulation. What I'm going to do first is distribute the -4. -4 times a is -4a. -4a times -3 is +12. The next thing I focus on is which is the smaller of the variables, -4a or -6a. -6a is smaller, so I'm going to add 6a to both sides. Combine like terms and simplify will result in 2a plus 12 equals 22. Now there is only one variable that I will solve for. So we're ready for our next question. What operations are being performed on the variable according to the order of operations? So I see a multiply by 2 and an add 12. According to the order of operations, multiply by 2 is first, adding 12 is second. So when we're considering the inverse operations, we're going to do that in the reverse order. We're going to undo add 12 by subtracting 12. We're going to undo multiply by 2 by dividing by 2. And this third step is the most important because it tells you how to solve the equation. Our first job, subtract 12. Our second job, divide by 2. So subtract 12 from both sides. 2a equals 10. Divide by 2 on both sides. a equals 5. So, after our 2 examples, hopefully you feel a little bit more confident in solving multi-step equations by using inverse operations. And this was solving multi-step equations. Good luck and have fun.